The American of today stands at the end of a world cycle. The civilization that once built cathedrals to God and machines to conquer the stars now builds theories to escape itself. The will that once opened the infinite spaces of the oceans and the heavens now seeks infinity within the flesh. That is the mark of the final Faustian age. In the beginning, the Western soul was a soaring thing, a Gothic line thrusting beyond the clouds. It strove for the boundless, for a truth that lay beyond form and measure. It conquered nature, then sought to conquer destiny itself. This was the soul of Faust, of Columbus, of Copernicus, of Goethe. But the Faustian will cannot rest. When there are no more continents to cross, it begins to explore its own nerves. When it has mastered the world, it turns to the body and declares, "I will master even this." The new frontier is no longer the planet or the atom, but sex, feeling, identity. It is the same will, degenerated from creation into play. Thus arises the new religion of self-definition. Man, weary of the external world, proclaims himself divine. "I am what I decide to be," he says, repeating without knowing it, the oldest blasphemy in the world. The gods of Olympus once perished when their images were multiplied in 1,000 trivial forms. So too, the image of man now dissolves into categories and pronouns. The American youth who declares himself neither man nor woman is not a revolutionary, but the late child of a dying civilization. He continues Faust's dream of limitless transformation, but stripped of the old greatness. What once built cathedrals now builds costumes. What once sought the stars now edits the body. The will to transcendence survives as parody. This confusion of identity is not a cause but a symptom. It is the visible decay of a spiritual form whose creative powers are spent. When a culture no longer believes in its destiny, it no longer knows what it is. Every civilization, when it grows old, returns to the question of the self, the only territory it can still transform. The late Roman citizen sought new gods. The late American seeks new genders. Both are gestures of exhaustion. The masses call this freedom. In truth, it is the last servitude, the bondage to impulse. The self, released from every higher law, becomes its own prison. There is no longer a world to conquer, only moods to display. The screen replaces the temple. The mirror replaces the altar. What appears as moral sensitivity, the fear of offending, the demand for affirmation, is in fact metaphysical terror. The fear that nothing is real, that the self has no ground. In this emptiness, even suffering loses meaning. The modern youth does not bear pain. He abolishes it by change in his name, his form, his story. He will not fight fate, he will edit it. But every act of denial deepens the void. The devil's gift is always abundance that turns to dust. America's hell is not torment, but endless comfort, the perpetual satisfaction that annihilates desire itself. The philosopher of decline sees here no accident, only the fulfillment of the Western destiny. The same impulse that once created science, exploration, democracy, and capitalism must, at its limit, destroy the distinctions on which it rests. The infinite must devour the finite. The boundless ego must dissolve the body that contains it. Faust, having exhausted the world, finally turns on himself. There is a terrible logic in this. Each culture ends by caricaturing its own beginning. The Gothic spire becomes the skyscraper, then the screen. The quest for salvation becomes therapy. The priest becomes the influencer, the knight the activist, the saint the celebrity. Civilization does not fall, it withers into noise. Yet even in this twilight there is truth, for decline is not disgrace but destiny. The fruit must ripen and rot before the seed is born again. The West has lived its great spring and summer. Its autumn is upon us. The cries of identity are the rustle of falling leaves, the last songs of a soul that once reached for eternity. So ends the Faustian dream, not in thunder but in self-portraiture. Having said, "I will be whatever I wish," man discovers that he wishes nothing. And in that moment of stillness, the devil's laughter is indistinguishable from silence.